we've got top of the hour, so I'll state a few ground rules, and then if you also, I'll say a couple extra hellos. Hello, Aaron. Hello, Teresa. Thanks for being here. Also, we have a camera on. Hi, Hope. Cool. And hello, everybody else. If I didn't see your camera, that's cool. Good to go. Special online training, kind of an encore presentation. We don't always do these every month, but when certain speakers have been very popular, and then I get a lot of people going, hey, we want to see it too. We couldn't make the meeting, or we're out of range, or out of zone, or out of town. Then I tried to twist the speaker's arm, and of course Adrian was willing to have his arm twisted. So the only tricky thing is we got the 4th of July, man. It's right about when we do it, so we pushed it to the Wednesday after. So, but hey, we certainly have a lot of people who are happy about that. So what's going to happen? We'll go probably about an hour and a half. Adrian, just so you know, I'm probably going to step away, and Carolina will be here. In fact, she's coming around right now with the low tech switch. Hey, there she is.
I'll be here.
She'll be here for you at the end, guys. Generally, with the chat, let's keep that for either if Adrian asks you to put questions in there or any sort of response is awesome. Otherwise, try not to make it into a circus sideshow, which I've noticed on a lot of people's Zoom. Sometimes it's like, you know, come on, how are you paying any attention if everyone's typing nonsense in their chat? So keep that nice and clean, and we'll be in good shape. And then recordings, generally I try to record it. It is recording now. That's usually successful on Zoom, but there's no guarantee it works, number one, and sometimes my speaker doesn't want the recording out for long. So you will probably get it, but that will be Adrian's final decision as we go, and they're usually just available for a limited time.
What you're saying is that they should pay attention?
I am. Yeah, they should definitely pay attention. You have to put it in the old school way. So,
and then if at any point you have any related questions to Zoom or anything else, just send me an email privately. That way we don't interrupt the chat. And then I think the way that Adrian will have his presentation is he will go, and then if he wants you to ask questions, he might ask you to type it. But in general, we want you to hold questions at the end, because he will probably answer them in the next slide or the next 5 slides. So I think that's it for now.
Yeah, I found this presentation extremely thorough, very detailed, and a lot of times it's, yeah, all the questions seem to have been anticipated and knocked out. So any that don't, we'll grab them at the end and we'll be in good shape. I think that about covers it. What do you think?
The party started.
All right. So Adrian, welcome. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
From Plant City, Florida.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have you share your screen. I know we tested that before, but let's make sure it's working now.
Screens 2.
Awesome. And then you're in good shape. So I think I'm just clicking on a few things with double tech check. So it'd be cool.
Yep.
Right.
I have to.
Adrian Smude, Plant City, Florida. Going to teach you a technique that can produce absurd amounts of cash flow, and is easy to get into, and doesn't take an absolute fortune to get into, and helps an enormous amount of people, all of which I'm not trying to steal his show, because he's going to cover all those points, but I want to put a real nice tack sharp point on that, because those are usually things we're all quite into as real estate investors. So I think you're going to love it. So Mr. Yellow Shirt, take it away.
Thank you, Tom. Well, tonight we're going to talk about mobile homes, as you know, but hopefully you're looking at your screen here, because I want to start out with all this money. And that's what we usually do when we don't understand investing in mobile homes. We leave it on the table. So that's what I want to prevent tonight, is for you not to leave any more money on the table. I am going to ask questions, as I said, so answer them in the chat. If there's any questions that you have on the actual slide that we're on, you can ask the question. I can't get real deep on anything right then, but if there's something that was a little confusing right then, I'll answer it. So I love that they said to keep the chat not off topic, basically, so that I can quickly look up to see if there is something there. But tonight is mobile homes. This is how I've gotten my freedom in life, is by investing in mobile homes. I got a ton of information, and then at the end, we'll have time to get even more. While I'm starting out here, if people want to put in the chat where you're from, because that does help me to kind of know we have more Florida people, DC out west, in the middle of the country. It does help me try to cater some things that I know within the slides, because it's easier whenever you're in one spot. Everyone's from there and you can cater it to that spot. All right, we got all over. So what I want to start with is the very beginning, or sorry, the very end. We're going to work up to the end. I want you to write down, not in the chat, but on a piece of paper, on your Word document, whatever, your notes, 3 things you are going to do when you are financially free. When money's not the stress anymore, I'm not going to call on anyone and ask them to tell me what they are. There's no right or wrong answers. Just write down 3 things you're going to do when money isn't your stress anymore. So once we bought all the mobile home, we have the cash flow, and we don't have to worry every month about money coming in or a job firing us or anything like that. Write down those. And this is one reason I love the cameras on, because I can gauge how much time, if you're still looking down and writing. Any 3 things. I like the term called beat money. It's one of my coaches use that term, like you beat it, you're on the other side of it. And then when you make some more money, you get to spend it on more fun things. So it looks like most people are kind of finished writing them down. Now, are any of your items, no particular order, have to do with helping more people? You can raise your hand or put the virtual hand up, or just give me a signal somehow. All right, so we got a lot of people wanting to help more people. Is another one of your items about traveling more? Any travelers? All right. We always get more travelers than I get helpers. I'm not sure what that says, but I'm a big traveler. But we have helping people, traveling, and what about spending more time with loved ones? Is your third one spending more time with loved ones? Anyone have that written down? All right, we got most people again. It's not a coincidence I'm asking these 3, because we all really want the same things. It's different loved ones, it's different places we want to travel, different people we want to help, but most of us are after about the same things. Keep that list with you, because that's the list that will pull you towards when things get a little tough, because we always have up and downs in our investment, but that's what we're going to work towards. So now I'm going to tell you how I got there with mobile homes. They're my tool to be able to become free to get to do those 3 things. We're going to start out with this question. Why would you sell a nice home like this? One of my mentors, Pete Fortunato, always asks this. And the reason we need to ask this question is really we're problem solvers as real estate investors. So we need to ask this question to know how to solve their problem the right way. So why would I sell a nice home like this? It appraised about $200,000, good bank financing, and most importantly, it cash flowed. So anyone want to speak up and give me a guess why I would sell a nice home like this? And put it in the chat, or just unmute yourself if you don't have a lot of background noise. Why would I sell a nice home like this? Beautiful corner lot. It makes me money. That's the most important thing. Any guesses of why I would sell a nice home like this? All right, we don't. Okay, where we're starting to get too much headache. To buy a better one. All right, we're on to something there. To buy a better one, or maybe to buy a better 7. And better is, subjective. Eliminate debt, figure out a way to make more money. So there we go. So what I did is I sold that one to buy these 7 mobile homes with dirt. And you're going to see why, to me, that was better. Now, the quick on a 1031 exchange is I deferred paying my taxes to a later date. That's what you got to know about that. So I sold the one, bought these 7 individual, different owners, different properties, but it's the home and the dirt together. And then I spent about $174,000, which quick math will tell you I took some of that money and spent it. Now, I believe in spending a little bit of the money, like basically rewarding ourselves as we go. Yes, there was a time I snowballed and I just took every penny and put it right back in the business. But we don't know how long we have here. I've had some friends pass away pretty young. We don't know how long we're here, so I really believe in taking it. At least go to a nice dinner when you have a closing or something that you have that the success. Reward yourself. Don't just throw it all back in there. So enough about that. Let's talk about the repairs. I had to put $50,000 to get all 7 of these rent ready. But that's not the reason I sold that one to buy these 7. It's the new net cash flow of $3,300 a month. So basically, would you rather have $4,600 a year or almost $40,000 a year? I think we'd all pick, yeah, I see Diane's like, yeah. That's 857% more cash flow. Cash flow is one of the reasons I invest in mobile homes. We're going to go over the reasons. So if you weren't excited before we started, now you should be really excited about investing in mobile homes. I quickly want to tell you a little bit about me. I don't think anybody on the call. I know very few people. So a little bit about me, besides that I wear a yellow shirt all the time. We're chatting about that beforehand. I'm in Plant City, Florida. So this is in between Tampa and Orlando. We're the winter strawberry capital of the world. That's why I picked that picture there. And then on the right there, you can see my family here, my big brother, dad, mom. That's my little brother, and this one's me. I don't look all that happy in that photo, but my mom and I were going through all the photos, and that's the one that the family looked best in. Grew up in Plant City, middle-class family. We weren't spoiled, but we went on vacations and we had things. And my parents never let us feel like there was stress and problems. But one night, I was probably 8 or 9 years old, I think. And I remember hearing a lot of really loud voices from my parents' bedroom. I kind of crawled over there and listened in on the big brown door. And the conversation wasn't good. It was about money. I later found out we had a stack of credit cards like this that were all maxed out. Later on, I don't know if it was months go by or a year or so, I found out at dinner, they actually told all of us that we were filing bankruptcy. To this day, my mom doesn't say the word bankruptcy because it's embarrassing. My parents brought us up with high integrity, and not paying our bills is about the opposite you can get. So life goes on, if we like it or not. It's going to go on, go past the bankruptcy. I turn 18, I move out, I stay local within Florida, about 30 minutes from Plant City, really. And I move out with some friends, and we were renting a place. Now, we were really bad tenants. I'll just cut to the chase here. Here's a few of my eviction notices that we received. Yeah, Clyde is shaking his head no. He already knows what's coming up here, though, because these are for parties. For parties like spaghetti wrestling, mud wrestling, pudding wrestling, you don't rent to 20-year-old Adrian. And the middle one here that has all that highlight, that's actually for parking a motorcycle in the living room. One of my friends, and for everyone that's up north, which looks like most people here, no joke, the reason my friend was parking his motorcycle in the living room, this is in Florida, remember, is because he said it was too cold on our Florida winter mornings, and he had to wait for it to warm up. So he parked it in the living room. We also had pool parties in that place inside the house. Again, you don't rent to Adrian. But what did I do after we kept getting evicted? I decided to buy a house. Moved all my friends in that helped me get evicted. I, in turn, learned what the landlord felt like. But I did something really smart here. I rented the rooms out and divided my mortgage up amongst my friends so that I would live for free, which was really cool. I liked living for free enough that I said, a few years later, I'm going to buy another house. So I go to the bank, and this is all I know to listen to is the banks. And they say, yeah, you can buy another house. This time you're gonna owe a little bit more than you're probably gonna better rent it for, but don't worry. You'll refinance in a few years. It'll be okay. Well, in a few years, we were at the top of the market and the value was actually coming down. And that little bit of loss every month actually started going up. I had one of those adjustable rate mortgages. So I went from losing a little bit every month to a little bit more. And you can see I ended up selling it, lost it as a short sale for almost half the price. This was a ding to my ego, a ding to my credit, but it was a compromise of my integrity, just like the bankruptcy. It brought back those same feelings. Same time of all this life happening, I hadn't worked in 6 months. But something very important happened is I didn't lose this house, the original house, because I bought it right and I was renting it right. And actually, I could have even sold it right, but then I would have nowhere to live and I have to go back to mom and dad. But that's one of the first basic, it sounds very basic, but it's such an important lesson, is to buy it right and rent it right, and then be able to sell it if you need to sell it right. Let's fast forward a few years. I ended up at a REIA like this. I fell in love with the educational speakers, the networking. You know, we're chatting a little bit before the actual meeting started. You know, when we're in person, we really get to chat and get to know each other. I fell in love with all that. And that's where I found out about my first mobile home. So let's talk about this first one. I met a friend there, Jessica. Jessica, one of the meetings said, you know, Adrian, my broker has someone that needs to sell their mobile home. Would you be interested? And I knew a little bit about mobile home investing. I said, sure. I went and looked at it because I was uncomfortable being comfortable, meaning I had a decent job. I lived in an okay, nice place. I could have just gotten by in life. But I was tired of that. I knew I wanted more. I didn't know the exact words. It was everything we talked about at the beginning. Traveling more, helping more people, being more time with loved ones. I couldn't put that into words, but I knew there was something more I wanted. So I took the rest of my savings and I bought this beautiful 1965 single wide, 3-bedroom, 1 bath for $16,000, the home and land together. I made a lot of mistakes because I didn't have any actual education on it. Some of these mistakes, you want to know where the septic is? It is, let me see if I can get fancy and put the laser pen on. The septic's right here. It's underneath the porch. Don't do that. You go in one bedroom to get to the other bedroom. That's another mistake I did. I made a lot of little mistakes, but I made money. I put it out there at $475 a month, was able to rent it out for that. You don't need to get your calculator out to realize those are good numbers. $16,000 I purchased it for, and I'm renting it for $475 a month. So since then, I have sold off all of my concrete, wood frame, my site-built homes, you know, the houses they go and build right there. I've sold all of those off and bought mobile homes. That is my main business today. I buy and rent mobile homes with the land. And obviously, because of my bright colors and shirt, and if you can tell my personality, I like to talk about what I do. So I started telling everyone what I do. A lot of mobile home investors are real quiet. And then I started speaking locally. Eventually, I ended up writing a book about how to buy mobile homes. I run a mastermind, but I couldn't have written the book. I couldn't have taught. I couldn't have done any of these things if I didn't have my rentals, my mobile homes that made me free enough to be able to do this. So that's what gave me the freedom to be where I want, when I want, with who I want. I quickly want to tell you about Lifestyle REI, what it is. What is my mission here? It is to bring sunshine, joy, and happiness into your life and business. It is to teach from my success and my failures. I've talked about a little bit of them now. If I can help prevent some people from having a bankruptcy or a short sale, it's worth it to me to be able to talk about those painful past situations. And then I'm a platform for my friends, colleagues, partners that I work with that have successful real estate businesses to come and teach exactly what they do. That they don't want to get in the whole world. I just say, hey, Mark, this is my friend Mark Bracy. Come and teach how to fix and flip. You're the best mobile home fix and flipper I've ever met. I'll give you a microphone, teach. And that's what he does for me. Why is he the best? He's fixed and flipped over 130 of these. He started out as the contractor and then became the investor that now hires the contractor. We'll go over some of his fix and flips at the end. I want to talk about the mobile homes a little bit more here. Obviously, we're going to talk about more, but this is where I'm going to need some participation. Unmute yourself or put it in the chat. Which one here is the mobile home, the trailer, or the manufactured home? Just put it in the chat. If you want to unmute yourself, a lot of times people don't want to find that unmute button, but which is the mobile home, which is the trailer, and which one's the manufactured home? Put it in the chat real quick. Let's see what people come up with. Mobile home, trailer. There we go.
The green is the manufactured.
Okay. Green manufactured. Somebody's saying one is the trailer. All of them. Manufacturers get better rents. Okay. All of them. Both. They're all the same. Jake has trailer, mobile home, manufactured home. Yeah, a lot of people saying all the same. Well, that's my answer. So we have some technically right answers, that there's a trailer or mobile home, manufactured home, but all the same is my answer. And it's because if I am buying, I'm going to call all of them a trailer, because trailer sounds cheap. It brings the perceived value down. Our words matter. So if I can call it a trailer, unless they correct me a few times, I'm going to do that. But if I'm renting, leasing it out, or I'm going to sell it, I'm going to call it a manufactured home. I don't care what year it is. It sounds expensive and bigger and strong. So our words matter, not just in real estate, in all of our lives. Manufactured home if we're selling it, trailer if we're buying it. That's what I like to do. Is anyone here honestly feel a little stressed about the idea of investing in a mobile home or a trailer? Raise your hand or say, okay. We've got some kind of, we have some yes. Thank you for being honest. Does anyone want to give me some reasons why you feel a little stressed or uneasy on a trailer? You can put it in the chat, or again, you can unmute yourself. Aaron.
I got two reasons. One, I found like 3 different mobile home parks, but every single one wouldn't let me, sublet to someone else because I didn't have the land and they don't like that. Then
Okay.
I found one that was with the land, and the house itself was pretty nice, but the land was really small. They had a cesspool, which is sort of like septic, but it's not. You have to like pump it out every month because it doesn't drain. And it was using well water, but there's not a lot of room for the well water. I was just, afraid of the problem. If I'm well in septic, I like to have at least like an acre and a half so that if something goes wrong, I can do another well. Or
so we'll cover a little bit of your reasons. Some of your more deeper reasons we won't have time to cover tonight. I do have some of them in my course, but like other people, I see durability, I see trailer trash, the rehab, the ground rent. Aaron, you just mentioned that. Not safe with tornadoes. So I call those tornado missiles. My area is more hurricane missiles. Isn't it harder to finance them? Okay, we're going to talk about a lot of these topics. I appreciate you giving me your answer. So my goal tonight is to bring your stress level about investing in them down a little bit. And then the shameless plug, anyone that is in my courses, I get rid of all that and they actually have confidence in them. So are you able to pull cash out? Okay, we'll talk about financing a little bit. That's a big topic. So I want to cover a lot of them. I know a lot of these usually come up. We'll cover as many as we can tonight. Let's talk about those with lot rent, though. A few of you said that. So there's going to be 3 main ways to invest in mobile homes. This is that lot rent. You are paying someone to park the mobile home every single month there. Lot rent, some areas call it space rent. So all you own is that aluminum box. This is typically inside of a mobile home park. Now, these are really good return on your investment. These can be recession resistant, but you lose some control. The park manager makes all of the rules. Now, I've done some of these. What I cover tonight, almost all of it will work for these. You do have sometimes a little bit different of how you buy it and then how you sell it or rent it out. A lot of people would like to do an owner finance with it. I'm not going to go real deep into these, but they're great return on your investment. I don't focus on these anymore because of that loss of control. Now, another way you can invest in mobile homes is you can buy the park. Now, the park, there's two main ways to run those. You can own everything, all the homes, the land, dirt, all of it. You have a flat apartment complex. The other way to run it is you can own just the dirt and people pay you that space rent, that lot rent every month to park there. You own a big parking lot. And of course, you can own a combination of the two. Now, I'm not in the mobile home park space because it's gotten really crowded. The government has their hand in it, making sure everything is done the way that they want. And the big boys, you know, the hedge funds and stuff, they've gotten in there years ago. Is there still room to make money there? Yes. It's crowded is one of the big reasons I'm not there. There's a lot of competition. I like the middle ground, the single unit with the dirt. So I get the control that you lose when it's lot rent, and it's forgotten about. It's a single family world. So I don't have as much of the mobile home park intervention and competition there. Sorry. Great ROI and recession resistant. We're all after ROI. But what's not talked about enough, in my opinion, is a recession resistant. So if we're in a recession, when we're in a recession, if we ever find out what the definition of that is again, we want to make sure our business is going to keep going. So yes, we want good ROI for the short term and to keep going, but the recession resistant is long term. And I don't think we talk about that enough. Any ideas why I keep saying recession resistant though? Like, why would I call mobile homes recession resistant? Throw it in the chat or unmute. See, I like to have this conversation back and forth a little bit. Any ideas?
Cheapest place to rent, and that is the lowest common denominator for somebody to have a house, I guess.
Yep, exactly. Affordability, cheapest place to rent, lower barrier to entry. Very good. Great job. So it's the affordable housing space. Most mobile homes are in the affordable housing space. I read somewhere that there is an average of like $230 or so on a 2 household income extra each month. So when we're in that recession and we have that 2 household income and one loses their job, what's going to happen? They're eventually going to have to come down a rent level. And that keeps happening until we hit that affordable housing space. We already have a lot of demand. Most of the country, I haven't found anywhere that there's not a lot of demand in the affordable housing space. So we're going to even more. We're not creating much more affordable housing. So economics say that we could actually raise our rents. Maybe that happens. I'm not counting on that as my main reason. My big reason, though, is I want a larger applicant pool to not have to lower my rents and to get good prospective applicants to not only pay rent on time, but to take care of the property. Because I'm not setting myself up to go without paying my bills again. That cycle that happens throughout lives of mine was the bankruptcy, then the short sale, I'm stopping it. Sorry, I'm not going to let that ever happen again with me. So I'm not telling you to do what I did and sell everything and just buy mobile homes. But I'd like to encourage you to buy a few, add some to your portfolio so you have a recession resistant portfolio. So let's look at some mobile homes here. You can see at the bottom there, we got some beautiful yellow vintage countertops. That one I like to joke around that if you wait long enough, it comes back in style. It also has shag carpet. For anyone in here that is my age or younger, the shag carpet is that real long-haired carpet, and they had like a carpet rake to stand it up nice and pretty. I think it was so then the parents could see when the kids were out after their bedtime. But shag carpet's not coming back in style. Maybe the yellow countertops, I can make that argument. No one's let me make the argument on shag carpet yet. So shag carpet is original then. So when I walk it and I see it, I'm like, okay, it's original shag carpet, which means there's probably original subfloors. And I'm kind of moving around, and subfloors sound and feel nice and sturdy, but I know they're original because of that shag carpet. Subfloors in a 1970s mobile home, they're particle board. If you've never gotten particle board wet, it's basically glued together sawdust and it just disintegrates and falls apart. So now I know I've got to put in my budget to replace all the subfloors, even though they feel strong, because I know it's going to happen really soon. It's not that difficult. It's not that expensive to replace them, but it's not fun when it's not in our budget. These are just little things around mobile homes that how they're different than a site-built home. Now, let's look at another one here. This is Jimmy, and he luckily learned about this gray plumbing. Does anyone know the name of it? It's like the PEX plumbing of today, the red and blue ones that you see piping, but it's gray. It's very popular in the 80s in the mobile homes. I always ask people if anyone knows the name of it, because I can't pronounce the name well. I'm going to learn it one day. It's not CPVC. It's a polyurethane. I think that's might be the closest I've ever gotten to it. I don't even know how to say it to look for it and find it. The important thing here is you see these connections, these brass connections, they fail. It's not if, it's when. There was a class action lawsuit, they fail. You need to know these things so that it's in your budget ahead of time. So when you're in a 1980s or older, you're going to look underneath the sinks and look underneath. Oh, I see some gray plumbing still there. All right, I need to put my budget to replumb it. These are all little things that I teach that took me decades, become second nature. And I teach to go and find out about all this stuff, not to swing the hammer, to find the right contractor, vet them out, and enjoy your life. Now, when I asked about who's worried about investing in mobile homes, a few of you said because of this family. You said trailer trash, not me. I would never call this family trailer trash. No, the movies have made it fun to poke fun of. Country songs. You know, I joke around that every little boy's and girl's born with a tall boy natty light. It's funny. It's a stereotype. I had to get over the stereotype at one point, but it's not true. This is not who lives in my properties. I look to attract, and who I go after as my resident. Where'd you get my childhood photo? I always have one comedian in the group. Jake, I like you. But who is my avatar that lives in most of my properties? It's a blue collar, handyman, handywoman. We're talking about the carpenter, the electrician, the plumber, the road construction, the roofer, the AC tech. They take pride in their home. It's not uncommon. We drive by a month later after we move them in, and they've made it prettier. They've added their own little touch to it. It's their home. We actually just moved in last week, white collar, making $75,000 straight out of college a year. So it's not even just the blue collar. Everyone will live in a mobile home. Now, you buy it the right way and you fix it the right way. That's how you attract the right person. But have we busted the myth that it's all trailer trash? This is one of the big myths I want to leave you busted with. You can give me a thumbs up or move your arms around a little. All right, Aaron's saying yes, we busted that myth. Clyde's there. All right. There's a few myths I really want to touch on tonight because I want to break some of these stereotypes. Because if you don't get through these stereotypes, it's going to be very hard for you to ever invest in them. So we busted that myth that it's not all trailer trash. So we know who we want to live in there. And now we got to start marketing for the right properties. We can do all of it. Basically, there's one little tip. All of these marketing works. I know they work. Mark is really good with letters. He does really well with that. I'm pretty good with the signs on the side of the road. I've got some students we're going to go over later that does the MLS, and they just bought this year on there. All of it can work. But you have to do one certain thing no matter which one of these you're doing. You have to change the word house to mobile home. That's it. You have to tell people what you're looking for. I know it sounds simple, but sometimes people don't do it. If you don't tell them you're looking to buy mobile homes, they're probably not going to sell you their mobile home. Now, what works for me? My best deals have come from referrals. I go to my REIA where I buy at, and I say every time, when we're in person, they have a little time that you can anything you have for sale or anything. And I say, I buy mobile homes. And I say like a broken record every meeting. I tell everyone what I do. I buy mobile homes. I usually get someone after the meeting. They come up to me like, why would you buy mobile homes? They go down in value. It's all trailer trash. Blah, 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 blah. You're right. Send me all your leads. And they do. And I always pay people. I love paying people. Because when I'm paying you, I'm making money. Now, realtors are the other ones that bring me leads. Do we have any realtors in the group? Anyone's licensed? All right. We've got a few licensed people. Great. You make your money like on the closing price, right? So mobile homes typically have like one less zero. So you're going to do the same amount of work for less money. Busy realtors usually say no, but you still want to help people. Realtors want to help just like investors do. So I became an information source. Also, a lot of realtors don't understand mobile homes. Became an information source to all the realtors in the area. And I tell them, call me with any information. I'll help you out. And then sometimes they just call me and say, Adrian, will you just buy the mobile home? Of course I will. Again, I always keep them in the deal. I find a way. I am not licensed. I want to pay everyone. I know sometimes investors get cheap and we don't want to pay people, but think about it. If I pay you, who are you going to call and talk to again? Me. And I'm only paying you if I'm making money. But pay people. They did work. Hopefully this is making sense. We got to be consistent with all of our marketing. And I'm consistent. You already heard about my yellow shirt. Everywhere I go, I'm in my yellow shirt. And I'm having fun with it. See, my shirt matches my personality. And it's fun for me. I want to introduce you to a few people here. We've got this guy right here. This is Charlie. And this is the guy that had the motorcycle from the eviction days. The motorcycle was not me. It was all Charlie. And then this little one up the top left corner, I need to take a new picture with Parker. That's Charlie's son. He's 3 years old now. But his onesie there, it says, my parents' friend's wife buys mobile homes. Why would it say that? Because it's fun. Wasn't fun to write it all out on the shirt, but my marketing is fun for me. It matches my personality. This sweet lady here in the middle, this is my fourth grade teacher. My fourth grade teacher, Miss West. I am in town in Plant City right now. When I'm in town, I go to the YMCA and I go to yoga and Pilates 3 days a week, and she's always there. And I told her, hey, I'm writing a book. When I do my book signing, I'd love you to come. I'm probably your last student you'd ever think to write a book. She stayed silent. So I took it as a yes. But that is my fourth grade teacher. This picture right here, anyone that saw me up in DC, this is a new one here. I just took a week off. Basically, barely had my cell phone on me at all. I went up to Glacier, and that's a picture from Glacier. I went to Yellowstone and Grand Tetons, but I couldn't have done that if it wasn't for all of my mobile homes that bring in the income to allow me to leave. And then we got my brother. Of course, my brother says my brother's wife buys mobile homes, my friend's wife. But this marketing is for me. It's fun for me. The introverts in the room on Zoom here are like, no, Adrian, I don't want all this attention. Then don't do it. I'm very serious. You got to do what works for you. If you had me in a suit right now, I would be uncomfortable and stiff. It's just not my personality. You got to do what works for you. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But find something you love that you can talk about more than real estate. A lot of us can talk about real estate forever, but there's something else that you just love and use that as your marketing. Cats are still one of the top things searched on the internet. I like cats, but I don't love cats that I can talk about them for hours and hours and hours. If I did, that could be a great marketing. But because I don't, people are going to feel that I am not that genuine lover of cats. So Star Wars, that's another one that's always really big. Find what you love and use it for your marketing, and people are going to come towards you that love that same topic, and I'm not going to be able to pull them away no matter how much fun I am. So consistency, make it fun for you. But I'm in Florida, and I said I got to be consistent. I said that a few times. It's a key piece to it. And we can go swimming a lot. Go scalloping, actually. So I love to go scalloping. I'm going next weekend. And while I'm out there, I still want to be consistent. I still want the boaters, other boaters to know. I want the scallops to know what I do. So I found a way to do that. I don't want to swim with my shirt on. So this slide right here, if you like it or not, you're going to remember me. So the lesson is memorable marketing will cost you less time and less money. So if you're ready to move on from this slide, usually the guys are, we'll move on.
Better when you do it live and then you put this photo of the entire room.
Yeah.
I assume for a few people's faces if they were laughing too.
Yeah, I usually try to look up right there. We got some laughing people, and I always try not to do this right after lunch if we're on a Saturday or something. There's always someone's like, eh. But again, it's marketing that fits me, and my people think it's funny. They're gonna remember it. That's the big thing. Yeah, go big or go home. But we usually get a question on where are all the mobile homes. A few people mention the lot rent, the space rent. That's the only thing that they knew of. So where are all the ones with land? So they're all over the place. I know we're from all over. I quickly took a few screenshots from around the country. I just went to Zillow. I put a minimum amount of land. I think it's like 1,000 square foot. And I unchecked everything else. We have just mobile homes. And I just took the screenshots. I want you to see around the country here, we have thousands of missed opportunities from all over the place. Look, even California, look at all these. Arizona, we know has a lot. But a lot of times people think California doesn't. The Northwest corner, they're all over the place if we're looking for them. And a lot of people don't look for them. And you don't have to live next door to it, by the way, to be able to invest in mobile homes. You can invest in them from a distance. So they're all over. And then, of course, Florida is where I'm at. And whoops. So I always have to end with Florida because that's where I'm at. Now, people always say, oh, you're so lucky because Florida has them all. We don't. Actually, Texas, partially because they're the largest, they have the most. But I think Michigan's like in the top 10. They're all over the place. They even have them in Alaska. I didn't think we would have anyone on here in Alaska, so I didn't put a photo up there. But they're all over the place. You just have to look for them. So let's quickly talk about financing. We had that topic earlier. I'm not going to go real deep into this, but I do want to bust the myth about financing because people say you can't get financing. And I'm still making payments on this beautiful 1960s single wide. It comes with most of its siding, but it's not Bank of America. I think we all could probably guess that it's not Bank of America. But financing is a pretty simple topic, but it's also a really big topic because I've never financed two deals the same way. What I want you to leave here tonight is you can finance mobile homes. I go much deeper into this in the course, but we'd be here again all night if we went into all of it. You can finance them. Don't listen to the people out there saying you can't. So let's look at this case study of Joe and Sharon. They found this on the MLS. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but it's in 1984. This is from just a few months ago. It's a 1/4 acre. It's a double wide. It's got that big porch on the front you can see. It's got a metal roof over. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So let's find out how much money they are making with this right now. So they found it on the MLS, like I said. Now, this isn't an MLS that they wait a week to go look at because MLS is competitive, but there's still deals there. People stopped looking. They say, oh, there's nothing there. They look every day. And as soon as they get the email and they look on it, they say, okay, we like this one. They contact them right away. They're taking quick action, which is one of the big keys for finding stuff on the MLS. So it was listed at $125,000. They have their parameters. They're like, yep, we like this area. It's within 20 minutes of good jobs. It checked all their boxes. They did a little negotiating, but they still went out there and looked at it. They said, we're not going to wait for the negotiating. We're going out to see it so we know exactly where we're at on it. Now, the problems they solved, remember, we're problem solvers here. The problems they solved was this was a probate. It's an inheritance property. The mom had passed away and the kids lived out of state. And a lot of people aren't from Florida on the call I saw earlier. For those that aren't from Florida, we're God's waiting room down here in Florida. It's nice and warm. Everyone comes and retires down here. So we do have a lot of inheritance and probate properties down in Florida. And this is the very common one. Kids took everything they wanted valuable and they said, we don't want anything else. We're going to sell it as is. They went as is, speed. It was one of those properties that it was too much work for someone just to move in, but it wasn't like a big fix and flip or anything. It was that I call it the old lady house where it needs some updating and some repairs done. Now, payment method. They got 30-year, 80% of ARV financing on it. We're going to go into the numbers in a few minutes. But they didn't think that was possible at the beginning. And we had a few conversations and I kind of coached them through. It's possible. You got to keep looking, gave them some pointers. And they got a 30-year, 80% ARV on this 1984 double wide with the land. So the rehab, I told you that it needed some work. They did a lot of the work themselves because they're teaching their son, he's right out of high school, about how to work on mobile homes. They want him to see all of it, not just the money and the bank part of it. So they had to refresh all the counters and the cabinets because the lady that lived there was in a wheelchair, so there was a lot of wheelchair damage, and they had to raise the countertops. So they didn't go and replace it all. They just raised it and refinished them all. Paint, carpet, those typical things. The backyard was actually the more expensive piece. They hired that out. There was a lot of trees that had gotten larger that become like kind of shrubbery, and they wanted to clear all of that out. It was really overgrown back there. And I mentioned the paint, the wheelchair damage. It took them about 30 days. They could have done a lot faster if they would have hired it out, but that's not what they chose to do. Then they put it for rent. They put it for rent for $1,575 a month. That is the top of the affordable housing range where they're at in Florida. But it rented really fast. So arguably, they might have been able to put it a little higher. There's demand for these properties out there. So let's look at the numbers real quick. They ended up purchasing it at $110,000. They did some good negotiating. And then they had, when they did their inspection, they brought up some stuff that the sellers didn't know that were wrong, and they used some of that for their negotiating. So their purchase price is $110,000. Closing costs, repairs, all in is $118,000. That's all the money that's in this property. And then they borrowed $108,000. So how much money does that mean they have in it? $10,000. They made the math easy on us. So $10,000 of money out of their pocket. That's how much money they had to bring up. Is that a lot of money? Yeah. Is it a lot of money relative to other deals? No, that can be just closing costs on some single family houses. So it is a lot of money, but not compared to a lot of other types of investments. And what are they getting a month? $313 predictable monthly income net every single month. So they're taking that money that we left on the table earlier, and they're putting it in their pocket, and their predictable income they get to spend every single month. $313. So they bought it right, and now they're rinsing it right. And what type of return on investment is that? It's 37% cash on cash return. Their $10,000 is making them $313, which is 37%. Who would do a 37% return on their money? If you're not raising your hand, send me your deals, because I would do it. I would do less than that, a little bit less than that. So it's a great cash on cash. Why do we want a really high return on our money? Because it helps us get to our goals that we talked about earlier faster with less money. It sure heck beats the stock market. Now, the icing on the cake here that's extra safe is if they need to sell it, they can sell it for a profit. They're not going to make them a lot of money. This is not a fix and flip deal. But if life changes, and it can, and they had to sell, that means they have some money problems. They don't have to pay to get rid of it. So they bought it right, they're rinsing it right, and if they need to sell it, which they don't want to, they could sell it right. I mean, that's what we learned earlier. That's so important. How they calculate all these numbers? They used my mobile home cash flow estimator. They plugged in all of the yellow spots, and as you can see, it told them they're going to make $313.71 a month, and the cash on cash return is 37.64% a month. It's very important to calculate your numbers, because if not, you're going into it blind. All of this, what did it give them? Gave them the freedom to leave for a week. They didn't have to ask anyone off. So they went on a family vacation, and they didn't ask for anything off time. They control their time. Their son, by the way, John, that I mentioned earlier, that's been helping them out, he actually just bought his first mobile home. He bought it in a park that we talked about with the rented land, and he flipped it. He decided to do a fix and flip with it, and he got a bunch of cash, and now he's hooked. So now he's really in the business. What do we learn from all this, though? We learned that mobile homes rock. They allow you to be where you want, when you want, with who you want. And I call that lifestyle freedom. If you haven't gathered already, I'm not just selling you on mobile homes. The secret here is I'm selling you something much more important than mobile homes. It's the freedom that the mobile homes provide. All right, this one here. This is Harmony. Scratching her head. Doing what a lot of you are doing is, what are you going to do with that? This is Mark. I introduced Mark earlier. This is his daughter. And now I look at this and I like, that's a sweet rental. I can make that work. I already told you Mark's a fix and flipper. Yes, he has rentals, but he knows how to fix and flip. So he looks at this differently. He can say, that is a sweet fix and flip. And that's exactly what he did. That is the same home. Isn't it amazing? That's a before and after. He even did some video footage because he knew this one was going to turn out well. He can see ahead of time what it's going to look like. That is a beautiful fix and flip. One little tip here, one reason they're so good right now, they've actually been going up in value still when everyone's kind of not really sure what the market's doing. Remember, people buy payments and interest rates have been going up. Well, that means they still are now needing to buy in a lower dollar value, and mobile homes typically sit there. So the mobile homes that actually got up in demand because people that before they were like, I'm not sure if I want to buy a mobile home or not. Now they're like, that's all I can afford. I'm going to buy it. So the demand in these, like that first time home buyer kind of space, it's really moving up. But let's look at the numbers that Mark had for this property. This is his spreadsheet, and he puts all his numbers in. This is before, it's really important to predict your numbers if you're going to a fix and flip. So he put all his numbers in here. You can see, look, commission, he knows he can do 5% easy. He already has an agreement, but sometimes he can negotiate more. He doesn't already put in, oh, I think I can negotiate. He puts in his conservative numbers because he wants to make sure he's going to make money on this. Some people put in, they push it all the way to the edge. Those are bonuses if you get to negotiate any of this down. So he says, all right, I am going to make $23,920. That is a 21% cash on cash return. And he's happy with that. So he goes through with the deal. Who would do a deal like this? $23,000 profit, 21% on their money. That's a good deal. Let's look at what the numbers ended up being, though. Ended up selling for more than he thought because he's always conservative with that. He negotiated the numbers down a little bit on the commission. He had no buyer's allowance. Look, $57,000, which is a 53% cash on cash return. Now who would do that deal? Of course, we all would. He texted me the other day, and I still need to get all the numbers from him. He's like, oh, yeah, by the way, I accidentally fixed and flipped and made $90,000. We know every deal is not like that, but this is not a bad deal at all. The only reason this doesn't look that great is because we just showed you the 57 and I mentioned a $95,000 fix and flip. Conservatively, you always want to look at, will it make money? And that's why he always goes back and looks at his numbers. You got to have the sheet to be able to make sure that you're going to make the right numbers and you're going to profit. I will tell you how you can get this later in the course if you didn't already guess that. But let's talk about some red flags when it comes to mobile homes. Now, mobile homes are typically a little more rural. They're not as often in the downtown, the city limits. More rural typically means septic tanks. So Mark likes to bring this up because not everyone is familiar with septic tanks. You got to check on them because all of these red flags here are really because of the insurance and the inspection. All that, they're the bad people in the business that get to tell the title company and the mortgage that, hey, we got a problem here, or hey, we're going to charge more. So that's what it comes down to. But so you need to know about septics. You got to look for them. No HVAC. This is always the one that gets people scratching their heads, especially when I'm in Florida, because why would you have no AC in Florida? I did grow up with it, full disclosure. It was 3 showers a day. As soon as I moved out, my parents happened to get AC. I'm not sure what happened there. And they got a white couch. I think they didn't trust me. But why do we see so many mobile homes without the AC unit? I finally figured it out by talking to enough people. They have the window units, those like window shakers, that kind of look trashy, and they're only turning those on in the room they're in. And they say that saves them some money. I've never done it to actually test it. But that means we don't have central air, and the mortgage company is going to want central air if you're going to fix and flip. Don't listen to the wholesaler that just says, oh, you just put a new package unit. So we call them package units on mobile homes, AC. Well, if it's been years like that, you're probably going to need new ductwork. And there's a chance they replace the floors where the ductwork, the vents came through. So now you have to put holes there and put the vents in. It's not always just, oh, replace the outside unit. You got to look for these things, because if not, that can start really adding up. Flood zones, wetlands. Remember, they're a little more rural. You got to know these, so then you're buying in the right area so that the insurance will actually cover it. Non-permanent additions. Mobile home investors do non-permanent additions more often than anyone else I've met. In my world, as a buy and hold, I'm okay with it. I'm comfortable with it, with that risk. This is a reason to be able to negotiate a little bit more if it's going to be a buy and hold. But non-permanent, when you fix and flip, the fix and flippers here know that the banks don't like that. So you got to check into that a little bit more often. The mobile home has been moved. If a mobile home has ever been moved from its original install place, it is not bank financeable. I'm going to say that again. This is very important. If the mobile home has been moved from its original install, I don't care if it's next door, it is not bank financeable. I get these calls of it falling out of closing because of this. And I buy it at a cheaper price because I have one less exit strategy. There's one exception to this rule. It's a VA loan. That's your golden nugget. If you have a mobile home that has been moved, you can sell it to someone with a VA. That's a really small buying pool. So I would use it as a negotiating reason to get the price lower. So I wouldn't actually fix and flip if it's been moved, but you can if it's going to be a VA person, a VA loan. Do it yourself homeowner remodeling. We talked a little bit about that with the same topic of the additions. We want to ask questions and we want to really find out a little bit more, because mobile home owners typically do a little bit more of their own work. And you need to know what you're getting into before you open up those walls and start doing your rehab. Private road agreements. I've almost, actually, this one that's behind me, I'm on virtual. So that one almost failed at closing. Like, it was delayed a little bit because of the road. We had to get the easements and everything on the road because they're in the country a little more. They're more rural. I've seen them fall out of closing because of this. Oh, because of that, we like to bring it up, because if the person you're selling it to, I might just say, I'll buy it anyways. I don't care about the warranty deed on that, the right price. I can say I don't care, but the bank lender is not going to say that. So you need to know this if you're going to fix and flip them. These are all just little things that come up that people aren't used to. All right, it's time to take action. If you listen to everything here and you don't take any action, it's just entertainment. And I'm not an actor, trust me. So I want to go over a few of my favorite quotes when it comes to taking action. The price of inaction is far greater than the cost of making a mistake. So if you sit there and don't do anything, you're not learning, you're not making money. What I have learned, I am very good at finding commonalities of successful and unsuccessful people. But let's talk about the successful people. Every successful person I've met and studied, they have made mistakes. They have failed. So they take a little action and then they fail. But the key step is they get back up because they have help from a mentor or a guide, but they get back up and they keep going. And then they fail again, they fail forward, and they keep going instead of just sitting there waiting until everything is perfect. So the price of inaction is far greater than the cost of making that mistake. Where you are a year from now is a reflection on the choices you make today. So as long as you're not driving, if you want to close your eyes here for a second, and I want you to imagine it's a year from now. You've bought a few mobile homes. You've increased your cash flow. Maybe you've dropped down the part-time work. You quit your job altogether. Or maybe you're just doing a few less big rehabs. Essentially, you control your time better. Well, we get out of this meeting in a little bit and you check your phone. And you have a text from a friend and it says, I know it's last minute, but tomorrow, can you go to lunch for my birthday? And you can say yes, because you control your time. Lunch costs you $100 for going to pay for your friend's lunch and maybe even a few drinks. You can budget the $100 maybe immediately or within a month or so, but your time, the ability to say yes that quick, you can't budget that unless you do something to control it ahead of time. For me, it was worth more than $100 to be at lunch with my friend Morgan. And I know for my friend Morgan, it was worth more than $100 because no one else could show up. I want you to be able to control your time and be there with your friends and family at those special occasions, even if they're last minute. Open your eyes. We have another quote. Your action proves your faith. Kind of what Ken Holmes is saying is, if you're not taking action, you don't believe it's possible for you. And that old saying, if I can do it, so can you. This is a time it's very true. So earlier I mentioned I wrote a book. What I didn't mention about the book and writing it is all through school, I was in remedial classes. While I was writing the book, I found out I'm dyslexic. So if a dyslexic guy can write a book and a dyslexic guy can buy mobile homes, so can you. You need to borrow the faith I have in you. Borrow the faith of the REIA. You can do this too. You just have to put one step in front of the other and just keep going forward. Oh, the book is great information. I'm very proud of it because I wrote it. It was very difficult to write, but it doesn't have everything. A lot of people want more pictures. They want more spreadsheets. The book can only offer so much. So I do have a course. I told you I'd have an opportunity for you to get even more. This is a video course. It's self-paced. There's over 40 lessons within it. And this is for everyone that is interested in making money with mobile homes. You're going to get a detailed walkthrough inspection. Remember Jimmy earlier? I was asking him, how he liked the course and what he thought of it. And Jimmy said, it's a really detailed hands-on walkthrough. I was thinking to myself, Jimmy, we weren't at a mobile home. You're just seeing these pictures and everything. He said, well, the way it was laid out, it felt very hands-on that he was there. So it's a very hands-on, in Jimmy's words, digital class. You're going to leave this class no longer fearing the 1960s and 1970s, the mobile homes. Doesn't mean you have to invest in them, but I don't want you to fear them anymore. At least make some money with them. I make a lot of good money with them, really good money. I don't want you to fear them anymore like so many people do. Remember when I said there wasn't anything out there when I started? This is one of the reasons I made this course. We're going to go over easy financing strategies without banks. That Burr method that everyone has loved, I think it's dead. At best, it's on life support. And in my opinion, if you don't learn these non-bank financing strategies, you are going to struggle through this recession. Please learn non-bank financing strategies, because those are the people that are going to excel through the next recession. I know people using the same strategies for a $2,000 mobile home, to a $2 million mobile home park, storage facility. It works everywhere. Cash flow estimator, we went over that. You're going to get all the documents. You get all of this, then you can plug it all in. You can make it your own. That's only half the course. The other half is Mark Bracey. I already told you why he's the best mobile home fix and flipper. But another reason I chose to bring Mark in is he's not someone that works 80, 90 hours a week. And my definition of success is not how many hours you work is a big number. It's actually more of the lower number. I don't want someone coming in and saying you got to work 90 hours to be successful, because that's not my personal definition. He still spends a lot of time fishing, with his beautiful daughters, traveling. That is the other reason I bring him in, besides that he's the best fix and flipper. So he's going to teach us the A to Z to fix and flipping mobile homes. He's going to give the repair calculations, and let's use some mechanics here. No one drove here tonight because we're all on Zoom, but who here has a car, a pickup, an SUV? Does anyone have one of those vehicles? All right. So everyone's shaking their heads. Mostly everyone has a vehicle that they drive around in. Now, would you take that vehicle to a Harley Davidson dealership and say, please change these spark plugs? No. Yeah, no, we wouldn't. Now, do we have any Harley Davidson or any motorcycles in the group? Anyone own one? All right, usually we have a few. But for the motorcycle people, they always say no as well to bring in their motorcycle to a Ford, Chevy, Toyota dealership. The reason is because they're different. They're both mechanics, though. They're just a little different of how you work on them. And you got to know those differences in order to be profitable. That's why these repair calculations are so important. You're going to get the contracts, the documents, the scope of work, and you get to keep this forever and make it your own. But I actually started using Mark's scope of work. We tweaked it a little bit because we're buy and hold, not in the fix and flip. But the basis of it, almost the whole thing, is Mark's because I liked it better than what I have. And that's the beauty of the class, is you get to take it and make it your own. And of course, you get the confidence to take action. Just like Greg did. He took the course, and then Greg decided to do something that was very difficult for him. He closed up his family business. He was a part-time investor, and he took the confidence from the course to go full-time, because his words, not mine, is don't stay in a job or business that is sucking the life out of you. And I picked the picture of him fishing, because since then, it's probably weekly, no more than 2 weeks, I see him out fishing on Facebook. And he looks way happier than I ever saw him. So get the confidence to make your next big step. The very short of what you're getting within this course is we're giving you the knowledge to buy it right, rent it right, and sell it right. And wholesalers of the group, you need this too, because you need to know how to sell it right and everything to be able to give it to us so we can make some money with you. Literally right before getting on here tonight, I was texting with a wholesaler. He had sent me a property 2 weeks ago, and I told him I'm not even at half price. So he had no idea. He actually told me it was the 1990s, and I could tell by the pictures it was in the 60s. But he started texting me tonight saying, hey, that number you threw out at me, where would you really be? He didn't understand mobile homes, so now his contract's going bad. You got to know this stuff to be able to make this money. Let us be your guide through this journey. The long answer is you get all of this. It's 40 video lessons. It's self-paced. You're going to get the digital workbook. You get the digital slide deck that goes with the presentation, the course. You get a community that's closed that you can ask some clarifying questions within each lesson. If you don't know all of this, you need this course. Now, I built this for the beginning investor, and I also built this course for the very experienced investor like Jeff. He took the course. He took value out of it. He already had 40 rentals. He lives up in the Detroit area. And as you can see, he likes to spend more time with his family. And for his son, it's soccer. This is the real reason we're doing all of this. I've got one last story about myself. This is way before I was a mobile home investor. I got a lead for a mobile home. Didn't really know what to do with it. I tried to negotiate some. I didn't understand it. And I thought, you know what? This guy, Gavin, he's helped me out a lot. He's a realtor. He's a builder. He's a fix and flipper. He's got property management. He's got a little bit of everything. And he had pulled a lot of comps for me. And I said, I'm just going to give this lead to Gavin as a thank you. I was like, well, Adrian, why are you giving this? I'm like, oh, you've helped me out a lot. Here it is. And he's like, no, really, you want me to pay you? I'm like, no, Gavin, I didn't think there was any value there. Gavin understood it. Gavin bought that mobile home. And within a few weeks, he essentially doubled his money. I left $18,000 on the table because I didn't understand investing in mobile homes. And the little knife twist is he had a podcast that every episode for like 5 in a row, he updated everyone about this deal. I knew what it really was because I'm the one who gave him the lead. I heard how much money he made. I left $18,000 by not understanding this. What is it could be costing you? We all can use another $18,000 in our bank account. Question is, would you pay $2,000 to get $18,000? Yeah, that's a no-brainer, which is just in luck because it's 1997, the course. It's a steal of a deal here. I've made bigger mistakes in 1997, and I want to save you some money and time. Just imagine if you got that deal that Gavin did of $18,000, would it be worth it? Or if you got the deal that Joe and Sharon got. If you just got this one deal, hopefully you're going to do way more than that for $313 every single month for the rest of the year and every year after that. Would it be worth it? Remember, this course teaches you how to invest in mobile homes. But the deeper thing it's given you is the freedom to control your time to be where you want, when you want, with who you want. Now, when I'm in a live audience, I usually have someone already throwing something at me saying, drop the price. We know you're going to do that because Traction REIA always has people drop the price because we're here to learn at a better price. And here it is. So it's over half off. It's a steal of a deal here at $997. And then I had to give some bonuses because, well, we have the best negotiators in the world that run the REIA here. So here's the bonuses. You're going to get a 60-minute fast track call with me. This is a one-on-one private coaching call. We can talk about anything you want. I'm going to suggest that you do this after you've gone through the whole course so that we can use your time wisely. You go through the whole course, get everything answered, and then book your call. The call does not expire, but please don't wait a year. We want you to get moving and make this money quick. So go through the course, then book a call. We're going to record it on Zoom so that you can get it, the recording for 7 days, because I don't want you to spend all 60 minutes like taking notes. I want to have that conversation, and then you go back and pull all your notes from it. How to market yourself like a pro. This is a course on marketing. It's not a course just on a yellow shirt. It's about making marketing fun. That is what I want to do. I want to make marketing fun for everyone. We're going to go through it, and you're going to take it and make it your personality. We talked about that a little bit with like cats and Star Wars and different things that you love. We're going to dive way deeper into that. It is for the introverts and the extroverts. It's paid marketing, free marketing, but all of that is going to be in this course. You'll get my audiobook for whenever you want to learn even more while you're at the gym, while you're driving. All of that's there. And but by the way, if I didn't tell you what my book is about, it is my story from that evicted, terrible tenant up to retiring my wife so that she could work wherever she wanted to be because of the mobile homes. And throughout that story, I teach you about investing in mobile homes. Now, you get the audiobook. I think it's fantastic because I narrated it. Maybe I'm a little biased. You get the deep dive case study. This is not a course I sell. This is, think of it as your companion course. This is, we're going to take chapter 17 from the book, and we're going to go through just that property from the 3 touches it took to actually get them to sell it to us, to negotiating, the inspections, the buying it, when the tenant moved out, what the mistakes we made, some kids in the neighborhood damaged the whole thing, what we started to do so that that wouldn't happen anymore. We're going to go through that entire property. It's all true education, no fluff in any of this. All the bonuses are over $450. And you're going to take all that and take action. Just like Kerr did. And she did not get any bonuses. Kerr went out and fixed and flipped 6 mobile homes right after the course within her first year. She bought some for $60,000. I think she put like $34,000 in it. She put $64,000 net in her bank on her first mobile home deal. Think how that changed this young soldier and her two daughters' lives. She bought some land, moved the double wide on it. She made about $41,000. She printed her workbook and she keeps it in her car as a reference. This can be you as well. Action takers recap. What you're getting tonight is the cash in on mobile homes. You get that entire course. You get the 60-minute fast track call with me. It's a one-on-one coaching call. How to market yourself like a pro. And real quick on this, this course has not been released yet. So you actually will come to it live on Zoom, and then you'll get the recording of it as well. So you get a little bonus there because you get to come live and you'll be able to ask questions during it. Get audiobook. And I don't think I mentioned, I am going to do an audiobook Q&A this Saturday. So anyone that signs up tonight, gets the audiobook, I'm going to encourage you to put your earbuds in and Thursday and Friday, listen to the whole thing so that you can jump on the Q&A call this Saturday at 11:30 Eastern time. It's going to be 1 hour on Zoom. It's going to be a great time. Deep dive case study. That's that one. We're going to go through the entire chapter 17 and deep dive into that property. All of this is valued at over $2,500. You get it for $997. This is how you get access to me. Please don't message me tomorrow about getting any of this. The answer is no. It's not fair to the people that bought it. I've had people, I know it's silly I have to say this, but I've had people do that. The answer is no. It's not fair to Traction. It's not fair to everyone that paid for it. The answer is no, that this is only for Traction. And I've already put it in the chat there. I saw there's the link to it. And then I even got fancy and asked my VA that does some graphic stuff for me. And she made a QR code. So you can actually scan it and it'll bring it right to that link.
I like the QR code.
Yeah, that's not my
Several options.
specialty. I stick to
QR
buying
code.
mobile homes.
Yeah. So I made it easier. TractionREIA.com, mobile
Perfect.
home.
Oh, look at that. Even better. Now people don't know how to spell my name.
Yeah, that's why we put
Yeah.
TractionREIA.com, mobile home. So it's an amazing deal. Adrian very kindly spoke in DC in person and also here in Sarasota. They love him. And the people that purchase your system, Adrian, they're just so happy and they're taking action. And I think the ones that got started and made the call, they're the ones that really getting traction on their mobile home. So if you want to place the order, the link is right there. If you have any questions, if you need to pay with 2 cards, if you want this, we are ready for you. Adrian is ready for you. And I think, would you like to take a few questions, Adrian?
Yeah,
or is there something
course.
else that you'd like to do?
No, yeah. If anyone has any questions about the course or anything that I may have missed through the slides.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I see that Diane raised her hand. Go ahead, Diane. And you can also put the question in the chat if you don't want to unmute or video. You guys can also put the question in the chat and I'll read it out loud.
Oh, I'm sorry. It said
Yeah, go
lower.
ahead,
I'm
Diane.
sorry. That was from
Yeah,
something else he had asked. I guess
Oh,
the
okay.
hand was still up.
Oh, okay. Then
Sorry.
You're all good.
Okay, anybody else? Either question or you can just put it on the chat.
I see something about foundation. So yes, we cover the foundation questions in the course. You need to care about that if you're going to fix and flip. If you're going to rent it, then it just becomes kind of a question on how you're going to finance it, and we'll just say your comfort level. If you're very, very conservative, yes, you're probably going to want to make sure that's all up to code. If you want a bigger return and you don't care, you just want it to be safe, that's more in my world. That's why Mark and I teach, because we're different ends of the spectrum and you get to find where you're at. But we do cover that in there. What's the newest home I have bought? So a new one in my world is a 1999. I almost bought one earlier this year. I just couldn't get the price right. We were a few thousand off and I was already pushing it. Was 2004. And I was excited because then I could say I bought something in 2000. But for me, it's been in 1999. Mark obviously buys newer ones. And the brand new ones, I don't remember what year they started doing this, but they're even rated, some of the models, up to 165 mile per hour winds. That's hurricane winds. So they do have some really cool technology in the newer ones. So if anyone still doesn't believe me that this back here is a safe investment, you can get into the newer ones and they can still be safe with tornadoes and hurricanes. Yes, Paul, I go over seller financing. So we dive deeper into a few different case studies and we definitely talk about seller financing. I love seller financing. Any other questions that I may have missed? I know I talk fast sometimes.
I remember in DC and here as well in Sarasota, they were asking you the best area to focus. And I think in both of them, you also mentioned the like the outer parts, like not in the downtown.
Yeah.
And I think that's so true. And some of the students that got your system in DC, that's what they were telling us, like, oh yeah, we move a bit out, but we can find more deals, better deals out there.
You know, and something I always forget to bring up on that topic. So tax dollars, the property tax dollars, are usually higher in the city. So we're a little more rural and we're paying a lot less tax dollars. And a lot of the property taxes, they don't really think that this has any value behind me. So hidden little pieces, we pay a lot lower property tax on our mobile homes.
Oh yeah, somebody just sent me a private message, but it's public, that is this price valid for the whole week? It's like, no, it's actually today for $9.97 because you're also including the bonuses. So this price and these bonuses are available tonight.
Yeah. Section 8 tenants, Paul, yeah, you could do Section 8 tenants. I know some people that do that. I personally don't do it. But when I get the questions about how to manage it, you manage them the same way you manage any type of rental. Management's the same. I do have a few like site-built concrete houses that I rent from the owner with the right to sublet it out. And we manage those the exact same way we manage all of the mobile homes. And I'll tell you, because that owner placed a lot of the tenants, those have been some of my bigger headaches than some of my mobile homes. So a lot of that is on your expectations and how you manage. So I manage them all the same. Where in VA are people doing? Oh, I know there's lots of mobile homes in Virginia. I see them in Virginia. I can see them from the interstate whenever I'm driving through. They're all over the place. What you're gonna find now is you're gonna start noticing them, because after tonight we talked about them. You might say, "Oh, I don't see any when I'm out and about." But I think it's called the reticular activating system. There's a part of our brain when we talk about something or learn about it, all of a sudden we start seeing it everywhere. So I don't see apartments when I'm driving around, but trust me, I see mobile homes. I'm like a little kid when I'm driving around, seeing them everywhere. Yes, like when you buy a new car, that's the exact analogy it usually is. Yep, you think you're the only person that has that bright yellow new car, and then you find out, no, that one's not so true. There are some out there. I've been getting pictures from friends around the country, but yes, when you get your new white Honda Civic, we'll say, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, everyone's got this car. It's exactly what happened to me. You're welcome, Aaron. Aaron, Paul, thank you as well. Yeah, good crowd tonight. Thank you. And thank you for the participation. I know it's not always easy over Zoom, and sometimes you're multitasking. And for the hardcore people that kept their cameras on the whole time, thank you as well. It makes it more fun for me. And I get to actually see a facial reaction to know that you are understanding what I'm talking about.
Todd was mentioning that he hasn't come across mobile homes in northeastern Ohio. How about?
Yeah.
You know anybody there?
Yeah, I know there are mobile homes in Ohio. I know that Ohio is one of the states that sometimes the cities are not as many, but here, what I would do, jump on Zoom, or not Zoom, Zillow, the other Z company. On Zillow, put in minimum 1,000 square foot for the land, put no HOA. That helps get rid of, I don't like HOA stuff. And then put in manufactured home, uncheck all the others, and just see what has been sold. Obviously, there's more than that out there, but that's my quick way to show, oh, there actually are a lot out there. The only places I typically find that there's not any are in the denser cities. And then you can get out, west in the middle of the country where it's, the massive tracts of land. But I haven't found places that don't have them besides that.
Awesome.
I know they're in Ohio. I just don't know all of your cities. Because I do have friends that own them up there.
Well, if there are no more questions, then please go ahead directly to the link, place your order. We have until tonight. What is today? Yeah, the 5th already. Wow. And click on the link, and then the moment we receive your order, I will send Adrian your information, so you will get access to it pretty much tomorrow morning, and you'll be ready to go. And then the cool thing is that you will hold Adrian will hold your hand the whole process. So,
and don't forget, I recommend go through the audio book first. So then this Saturday, 11:30, I'm going to send you an email with all the information. But then this Saturday, you'll get on the Q&A call for the audiobook.
awesome.
So that's this Saturday. So you'll have
That's
to.
only the ones that invested in the system can attend this Saturday training, right?
Yeah, you have to have the audiobook, and you got to go through it. So
Perfect.
making you actually go through the audiobook. So it's clarifying questions, a little bit like what we did tonight. Because no matter how clear I try to make it, sometimes it's just not perfect, or you heard it a different way. So I want to go through all of that. So that'll be this Saturday at 11:30.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Adrian, for spending the evening with us, and also for spending a lot of the days here with Traction. We are so happy to have you as part of the Traction family. And we look forward to hearing successes from all of our members in mobile homes. So thank you, everybody, for our Traction REIA members. This counts as a meeting, so remember to virtually stamp your freaking attendee card, because this is considered a training, so that's a valid stamp. And then any questions, always check our website. Feel free to email us directly, and the link to place the order is right there. Well, thank you again, Adrian, and everybody have a great rest of the week. Happy Independence Day, happy July, happy summer, and we hope to see you guys at the next Traction event. I'll be
You're
here
welcome.
in chat. If you guys have any questions, I'll be here, but if not, you can sign up. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.